Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's live. I hope y'all are having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. So cool. Football is happening in the other room, so if it gets a little loud, if any of y'all have seen my husband on Facebook, he loves to yell and scream about football. So thank you so much for being on with me tonight. My name is Molly Kaiser. I am here in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you don't know me, I am your emotion code specialist here in Las Vegas. I do practice and have a certification in doing energetic healing of emotional baggage. So upon this journey of working on emotional baggage and learning about energy healing, I have spent a lot of time trying to learn how to heal energies inside my body naturally and with my friends. Hello, thank you so much for jumping on. Hi, Melody. Hi, Cindy. Hello to my friend Mandy as well. Hello to my friend Jennifer. Hello. Okay, so I'm so excited. I didn't know if I was going to share this, but I very much nerded out on it. And after I told 5 people about this amazing quiz that I found, and I told 5 people about, oh my gosh, this is my Ayurvedic body type, and this is all the things that I learned about me and everything, then I was like, okay, well, I've told 5 people. I might as well tell a bunch more people about what is Ayurveda. What is Ayurvedic body typing? So for any of you that know me personally, I am such a nerd on like Pinterest and blogging and YouTube stations and books. I can't get enough knowledge. So when I learn something, I very much like to share it with everyone. So you're wondering, you're like, what is this big crazy word that Molly typed out here? Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is an Indian type of medicine or type of typing that is dot, not feather. Okay, so Indian. And it is over 3,000 years old, this type of medicine. So anyone who knows me knows that I love gardening, I love herbs, I love yard stuff, I love what the power of plants and nature can do for your body already. So when I started looking into that, and then I started looking into, what do I want to be eating? What do I need to do to take care of me? What do I need to do to take care of my energy? So if you saw my post last week, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about going raw vegan. Who wants to join me? And super discouraging because you all were like, I really don't want to do this. But I looked into it, and here's the thing. I did my Ayurvedic body typing, and that would have been the worst possible thing I could have done for my body type. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the 3 types of Ayurvedic body types, and I'm going to tell you who you are. So I want you to pay close attention because you may find your body type in here and already know before I even share the quiz who you are. This is going to tell so much about your personality. It's going to tell about what you need. It's going to tell about your diet. It's going to tell about your imbalances. It's going to tell you about your drawbacks. And it's going to let you know what you need to work on, energy-wise, food-wise, comfort-wise, maybe even personality-wise, what you need to work on. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for sharing. Yay. Thank you, Raquel, for sharing. Cindy, thank you so much for sharing. Mandy, thank you so much for sharing. I really do appreciate your shares because I think like the biggest journey is learning about us, wanting to know who we are, wanting to know what's going on. Okay, so you ready? I took notes because I nerded out on my body type, and then when I wanted to tell everybody, I was like, I don't know who you are, and I don't know how to tell you about it. So first body type that's up is called Vata. So Vata is a wind energy. So that's the element that's associated with it, okay? So let me tell you this. Vata, your energy type, you may be so sorry, let me shut off my computer so it doesn't beep the whole time. Nobody wants to hear my computer beeping and how many messages I get. Okay, so Vata or the wind type, you get personality types that are, you're an inspiring person, you're enthusiastic, or you're very creative. You could be all of these things or one of these things when you are a Vata type, a wind type. So this is cold, and this is a dosha. So they are also called dosha or constituents of what your body type is, your Ayurvedic type is. So you can be cold, dry, dosha energy. So that means very cold and dry. You're comprised of 2 different elements. That's of air and space, or air and ether, if you're very much into the natural elements. So we have your body type is going to be, you are prone to bloating, gas, and constipation. So your mind type, if you are Vata, you are going to be fast, active, and you're going to be prone to anxiety. So anybody who knows me already knows I'm a Vata. Like, that is who I am, very much so. I am fast, I'm active, I'm prone to anxiety. I am very much like air and space. And very, I try and be inspiring, I try and be enthusiastic, and I try and be creative. So I have also common imbalances, okay? So common imbalances that Vata types. Now, if you think that you're a Vata, okay, I want you to comment below that you think you're a Vata. That spells V-A-T-A, not a Vato, okay? No. This is dot, not feather, and not bandana, okay? So, not taco, okay? So Vata, V-A-T-A. So your imbalances, first off, your imbalances, these can lead to all types of things. So here's the thing is, dis-ease, that's feeling of dis-ease, where you're uneasy, right? That can always lead to disease, right? Disease is where you are in such a prolonged state of dis-ease is that you end up turning that into disease in the long run, okay? So here's the thing. I'm going to list the common imbalances and how they start out in each of these different types. And then I'm going to list like what it goes into, because it can go from dis-ease to disease. And you want to know where you're at on your scale of your Ayurvedic type so that you know how much work you got to do, right? So anyways, and these are stages of body and mind, right? So these are over prolonged periods of times where they go from dis-ease to disease. All right, so first in Vata, it starts with a restlessness or forgetfulness. So if you've ever had that very angsty feeling and you're like, I just can't hold still, you just can't get to sleep right, you feel forgetful, you're like, you walk into a room and you're like, what was I just doing? What the heck was I doing? Okay. So then next stage, that's how it starts out. You're going to feel this restlessness or forgetfulness. And then it moves into a feeling of insomnia. Okay, so that's next stage. Then comes insomnia and your mind racing. We're not even to anxiety yet. You just can't, you stay awake thinking, like one thought after another. Another thing is playing over and over in your head. And then you can't get to sleep. And then, let's see here. So the next thing I have is, so once you go from that insomnia or restlessness, then to insomnia, then the next stage becomes a physical feeling. So the physical feeling is going to be cold all the time. So if you're one of those people, me, if you could feel my hands right now, cold all the time, which reminds me of my tea. By the way, this is tea time, so if anyone is having tea, please drop it below. So you feel cold all the time, where it's just like, can't get warm, nothing makes you feel better. You go to bed, you're like freezing, and that's when you go to bed, because you're like, I'm done, I'm cold, I gotta get warm, right? So for my tea tonight, reminding me that I'm cold, that my fingers are cold, that my feet are cold, instead of doing tea for tea time tonight, I have here, this is called Golden Milk, and it's by My Kind Organics. So anybody who ever deals with synchronicities popping up in your life, this week's synchronicity for me was turmeric. I know that's so weird, but turmeric literally was everything. Everything that I Googled, everything that I blogged, everything that I tried to look into was showing me turmeric. And then I find this Ayurvedic body typing, and it tells me that I'm cold and how to warm up my body. And warm spices and turmeric was one of the things. So this is turmeric, it's ginger, it is black pepper, and it's probiotics for digestion. I'm going to try it in front of you. You actually heat up, instead of water, I have, if it lets me get into it, I have almond milk here that I've heated up. So I'm going to be putting it in almond milk. Who is having tea with me tonight? Anybody having a nice warm drink? Because it is winter in some places. Here it's like 60 or 70. So, oh my gosh, I love it. Heather, thank you so much for joining me. Joni, thank you so much for joining me. Absolutely love it. Mia, thank you so much for watching tonight. I really appreciate seeing you here. So, if you don't know about turmeric, I didn't know, I don't even know if this is going to be sweet or if this is going to be golden milk, right? So, it's turning like very yellow. That's why I put it in this clear cup so you can see. It also has black pepper and ginger in it. I'm really hoping it's sweet. It's not bad. It's not sweet though. It's got cinnamon in it too, and nutmeg. I can totally taste that. Okay, so that's supposed to warm me up and probably turn my teeth and tongue orange or yellow. Anyways, so tea for tonight. All right, so coldness. Then the next stage is you start to feel weakness or fatigue. You start to feel dry skin and hair all the time, right? So if you have dry skin, if you have dry hair, maybe dry and brittle nails, if you feel just this weakness or this fatigue, like you're constantly like burning out on your energy, that is another stage of Vata, right? Okay, so then here's another thing. That coldness, then when it moves to the next stage, it'll move to your stomach. So it's like you're cold in your soul, right? You're cold in your guts. I feel like that all the time. Not like I feel cold in my soul. But I do feel like the cold goes right to the core of me. Like it's no longer external, like it feels like the cold is internal. So this coldness will be in your stomach. It will affect your digestive system. So you very much feel that sluggish digestion or maybe an upset digestive system. Then you'll even notice like gas or bloating. Because what is this element? This element is wind. So when you're noticing that air blowing, like the gas that you're feeling, like the coldness that you're feeling, it's like you have wind like going through your body, that wind element. And then the next thing is you'll feel constipation, right? So you can't go, or it's very dry, or it's very brittle, or it's just not solid, right? Or you're dealing with like deer pebbles, so to say. So that is another sign that you are Vata. So Vata. So if you think at any moment in time that you are Vata, go ahead and drop that in the bottom. Next thing is it results in prolonged imbalance, wind and cold that get into your bones. And when it goes from dis-ease to disease is when you notice it's hit your bones, like that prolonged dry and cold, and you start to develop osteoporosis. You start to develop arthritis, maybe stiffness in the bones and in the joints, and then weak bones. If you break a lot of bones, if your bones are brittle, if you feel like they're, just very creaky and they're not supporting you, the next stage is it can even turn into Alzheimer's. So if you know like Alzheimer's runs in your family and you're always feeling like cold, this dryness about you, maybe like weakness or fatigue or something, insomnia, racing mind, anxiety, that can very much lead into these bone disease or this arthritis, but then it can turn into where that forgetfulness that we started out with as our first imbalance, where you're restless and forgetful, then all of a sudden it turns into Alzheimer's, like you just forget, like it's erased. Make sense? So then it can also lead to infertility. So if you have, say you have like, if for the women on here, if you have a very weak period and you're not producing enough, like it seems like it's sporadic or non-existent, or it's very little that you actually produce, then that can be the beginning signs of maybe infertility. So here's the thing, with your signs, I'm going to tell you ways that you can deal with them, ways that you can get it under control, because this is showing you that there's a dis-ease within your body, like your typing, like who you are as a person, what makes you special. You're just ignoring this imbalance that's going on, and there are ways that you can fix that. But a lot of times when we don't know who we are, we start doing maybe the wrong diet, maybe we start doing we eat the wrong way, maybe we sleep the wrong way, we act the wrong way, right? Where we're like, I don't understand, I'm just trying to push through. And maybe for you, it's not pushing through. Maybe it means rest for you, where other people, it means that you got to get up and forget about rest. You got to move forward. So different types require different things. So when you see this and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm Vata, like Vata is amazing. Don't think that Vata is bad, but these are showing you signs that you have an imbalance. So to pacify Vata means that you need warming foods. And here's me. I was going to go raw. I was going to go vegan. I was going to go like all cold smoothies and maybe like cold bowls or something like that, or gazpacho. Those are the worst things for Vata. Those are things that you should not be doing, because that is not good for your soul or body type. That is not good for your mind, body, and soul. So to pacify Vata means that you need warming foods, you need spices, you need root vegetables, and you don't feel grounded because you are wind. You're blowing around. You don't feel grounded because you are not rooted in the earth. You are space. You are air. So for you need grounding foods, and grounding foods would literally be root vegetables, things that are grown in the ground. So this would be yams, turnips, onions, garlic, like those things that keep you to the ground. Warming spices, think about baking spices. So where you have, maybe it's pepper or cayenne pepper or ginger or another warming spice, cinnamon, nutmeg, like those things that are warm, those things that make you feel good. Those are things that are going to balance you back out if you are a Vata type body, okay? So I don't want you to think that there's no way for you to like come back for it. But here's the things that you have to avoid if you're a Vata. You have to avoid icy stuff. So if you're having ice cream, if you're drinking cold smoothies, if you are drinking, if you are eating cold foods like they're not cooked, Vata, you need your food to be cooked. You need to be warm. You need soups. You need warm spices. You need your food to be cooked. So when you're like, I'm going to go all raw vegan, which was me, that was the worst thing that could have been for me. Thank God nobody wanted to join me. Here's the other thing. You want to avoid cold foods, but you want to avoid dry foods. You don't want to be eating crackers or chips or anything like that because that is not good for balancing out your natural mind, body, and soul of Vata. You want to avoid the raw foods. So avoid icy, cold, dry, or raw, okay? You don't even want leftovers. Leftovers are not good for you because you need something warm and nourishing for your body. Okay, moving on to the next type. Oh my gosh, are you ready? All right, so next body Ayurvedic type is going to be Pitta. So Pitta means fire, okay? So fire, here's the thing. If you are a fire type, your personality is probably ambitious. You are probably fearless. You are probably a leader. Like, here's the thing. You have this fire in you and you spread it to other people. Like, you're very much leading the way. You're a warrior, okay? So if you are a Pitta, if you are fire, then you are hot all the time. You may be oily, like you have oily hair and skin, and you are sharp, like you are sharp mentally, okay? So that's your dosha type. Here is... you're compromised of fire, but also water too. But we just call you fire because you're mostly just fiery. When your body is Pitta, that means that it's very acidic. You might have like an acidic type stomach. You're muscular normally in body type, so you always maintain your muscle. You never lose that. You might be prone to skin rashes, okay? So if you're thinking, as I name this, if you were thinking you were Pitta, I want you to type Pitta down in the bottom. That is Pitta, Pitta. Okay, so common imbalances for a Pitta, and these normally occur. Now, here's the thing. Your stages can move. They can change too, but you're normally, for Pitta, you're going to notice your imbalances popping up in the summertime. Why? Because the summer is hot. There is heat involved. So if you are Pitta, then you are feeling hot. You're feeling oily. You're feeling, you normally get your agitation is going to be in summer months or when it is hot, right? Okay, so it starts with irritation. This is your first common imbalance. Then it will be like irritation. Maybe you're pissy or you'll feel rage. You may feel like you're snapping at everybody and you don't know why. You'll feel impatient. If you are Pitta, you are fire, right? So your fire, when it's imbalanced, it is, just kind of like pissy, rage, angry. You're very prone to being resentful or jealous. Here's another thing is, let's see. Okay, so here's one thing that I want to note here is you're going to notice that this stimulates more, like you are more off balance in the summer because you're already hot and the summer is hot, so it throws you off balance. But here's another thing, things that you definitely want to avoid if you are Pitta is you want to avoid spicy foods. You don't want spicy foods because you're already hot and you add hot to it, and then you go from like this nice warm orange flame to this like purple flame of death, okay? So you want to avoid spicy flames because that just enhances your irritation. You want to avoid stimulants. So you don't want coffee, you don't want caffeine, you don't want that extra stimulant because you are already you already have that fire in you. You don't need to add more fire to it, okay? You just need to balance your fire so that your fire is adequate, not over accentuating it. You also want to avoid nightshades. So if you don't know what nightshades is a type of plant. Pardon me, this is getting so bright. There, is that a little better? Maybe? Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, so you want to avoid nightshades. So nightshades, if you don't know, these are potatoes, tomatoes, mushrooms, those type of things. If you want to look up nightshade plants, like what kind of plants are nightshade, you can totally look those up too. But those are things that you want to avoid because those just increase your fire. Yes, purple flame of death. Yeah, it's totally scary. You don't want that. Okay, so the next thing is you move very quickly as a fire element. You move very quickly to the physical imbalances. So You're going to be hot. You're going to be sweaty. You're going to notice that maybe you have rosacea or you're red in the face, right? You may notice even an odor, like you notice body odor. Maybe your sweat smells or maybe your breath smells. This is a sign of imbalance with Pitta. So Pitta, when you are imbalanced, when you are not taking care of your mind, body, and soul for what is good for you, then you start to notice these imbalances. Next too is too much fire physically. In the digestive system, you're going to feel this. So you're going to feel it in your core. Like, so for me, where I'm like very wind and I get cold to my core, you get hot to your core. So you deal with a lot of digestive issues. You're going to deal with acid reflux. You're going to deal with heartburn. Then when your digestive system is messed up, right, that fire is off in your stomach, you're going to start to notice it in your skin. So you're going to start to notice acne, breakouts, blemishes, right? Your face is very much going to show your Pitta imbalance in the face. Okay, so then next, let's see here. Your oily skin, that is a sign that your Pitta is imbalanced. You need to take care of that, right? Less of those stimulants, less of those nightshades, very much taking care of when you get hot, when you get overheated. Like, you need to do you. Like, you need to take care of you. Get to a cool place. Find ways to take care of that. So things that happen to Pitta, when it goes from physical, then it starts to go into dis-ease, then disease, is you're going to start to notice ulcers. So you're going to notice that acid and fire eating a hole in your stomach. So if you don't know what ulcers are, a lot of times they say it's stress, but it's imbalances is what's happening. It's imbalances in acid in your stomach. It's imbalances in your mind, body, and soul. It's stress, right? So that fire, that acid in your stomach eats a hole right through it. So, and then there's all that kind of discomfort. Here's the next thing that happens is you start to have esophagus spasms. So maybe someone on here has experienced that, where you have ulcers, you have heartburn, you have the indigestion, and then when it gets really bad, your esophagus starts to spasm like it just can't handle it, right? That's when you know that it's really getting bad and you're not taking care of you. It'll make it hard for you to breathe through those spasms. The next disease it takes is it'll be any disease is acid related. So, there is acid related diseases. There's stomach cancers, there's throat cancers, all esophageal cancers, right, that are happening there from all of that acid constantly bubbling up. Another thing that you might notice is maybe that tooth erosion. Your teeth will be eroded because of the acid that's happening all the time with your teeth. So you're constantly having to fight that acid. And, even if it's like burping or anything else, and that starts to take away your teeth. So stomach and throat cancer have that yellow skin. Here's the thing, jaundice. If you're prone to jaundice, yellowing skin or eyes, that's another sign that your Pitta is not being handled, right? You are not taking care of those imbalances. You're not taking care of you. You're pushing through in a way that you should not be pushing through. And you need to take a step back, cool down, have the right kind of foods, have the right kind of stimulants, right? Okay, to pacify it, you need cool Pitta. You need cooling things. So this could be smoothies. It could be smoothie bowls. It could be ice cream. It could be something like that. You need something cleansing. So you need things that cleanse your system very well. Things that are detoxifying, right? So whatever types of foods are cleansing or detoxifying or cooling, those are the type of foods that Pitta needs to put you back in balance, to pacify the imbalances that are going on. So here's another thing that Pitta has to watch out for. You have to watch out for GMOs. You need non-GMO foods or raw. Raw foods are good for Pittas, okay? You need organic things, and you need to really watch and make sure that they're organic, because a lot of times those chemicals and things really set off your acid, right? They set off your fire. You need natural things, more natural things, things that are less packaging and more that raw or that vegan or, cooling things. Like, you don't want something that has a label with a bunch of words you don't recognize, because here's the thing that Pitta does. Pitta's body very much doesn't recognize those words that you don't even recognize, right? Your body type doesn't recognize it. You put that in your body and it either tries to fight it or store it. You don't want it to do that, okay? So you need veggies, you need fruit, smoothies, salads are good for you. Mint teas are great for you, very cooling, right? Cucumber's great, celery's great, all those cool items. And here's the thing, your Ayurvedic type can move, like it can change in your life. Very much I have been in certain types, but here's the thing, Vata is going to be the most common, and it's easy to get into, easy to get out of, because you're the wind, you're very much blowing, so it's very malleable. Here's the thing with Pitta, you might not feel if you're Pitta, you might not notice it. It's something that can be hard to recognize, especially if you have it in check and you're doing fine, you're like, I feel normal. Well, you very much could probably be Pitta. Okay, Last type, third type here is kapha. So kapha, this is spelled Kapha. So if I read to you about kapha and you think that you are a kapha type, then totally type that one below. My friend Jamie just jumped on. Jamie, if you don't know, you're a pitta, definitely. My friend Raquel, she's definitely a pitta. Me, I'm vata. Okay, so kapha. Kapha are caregivers. They are normally loving, and they're very nurturing types. So if you think that you are a kapha, I want you to type that down below. So here's the thing. Kapha is comprised of earth and water. So you're very grounded. You normally feel very patient. Like you're kind of like, what is everybody so up and about? I feel fine, right? Here's the thing. For your body, what you may feel if you're a kapha, you may feel exhausted. You may feel heavy. You may feel like you're stuck, like physically stuck, or maybe mentally stuck, like you're stuck in place, or you may feel lazy. Mind-wise, you're going to have an issue with being stuck in the past. You're going to be very prone to depression, or you're going to have this underlying sense of longing a lot, okay? So that is very much like a kapha mind type. For common imbalances, okay, so for common imbalances with this, it's going to start out as you're going to be affected by cold and damp weather. So for any of my peeps on here that are like, I hate when it rains, I cannot stand when that snow gets all slushy and it's terrible, I can't stand when it's cold, your mood is very much affected by cold, damp. Like, think if you had to pick like your mood or your soul type, you would be like, I'm stuck in Seattle or London, right? Like, that's kind of like, you're like, this is who I am. Okay, so you're going to be affected by cold and damp weather. You're going to feel heavy in your body. Like, you just feel heavy. Like, you're in there and you're like, man, I cannot, like, I am so grounded that it's exhausting. I could lay down right where I am, right? So you're heavy in your body. A lot of times you'll feel stuck. Like, you feel physically stuck, you feel mentally stuck, you feel emotionally stuck. You're just like, it's too heavy. I'm stuck right here. And you may be prone to weight gain. So it'll be like you feel like you're very much prone to weight gain. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Christina. Great to have you all on here. Thank you so much for watching. We're in the third type of Ayurvedic. So here's the other thing is, kaphas are prone to not letting go of the past. They are not good at letting go of emotion. This causes you to hang on to weight, and it causes you to continue to gain weight until you let go or surrender. So here's the thing, when you're like, I just keep gaining weight, I feel heavier, and you're like, that thing that happened in my past, and I can never move forward because of what's behind me, but it's not behind me because I've brought it to the forth. Here's the thing, if you're like, I cannot lose weight no matter what I've done, you need to find an emotion code specialist, right? You need to find an emotion code healer. This is the one that you will lose weight when you let go of the emotional stuff, when you start to surrender. So you very much, like, when you're dealing with all of that, it's because you're just heavy from emotion. So here's another thing. You deal with water weight. So if you're like one of those people that gains water weight easily, or you feel puffiness, like you feel like you're puffy in your face, or like, I'm puffy in my hands, I'm puffy in my feet. Like, when you feel puffy from that water weight, then that means that you're kapha. Another thing is hoarding. If you deal with hoarding, you're like, I got to keep this. It's where you have that, you're holding on to things. You hold on to weight. You hold on to possessions. You hold on to emotions. You hold on to the past. When you're holding on to those things as a kapha, it very much sticks to you. So you get stuck in hoarding things. So this means that no matter how hard you try and move forward in life, and even if you get that great job, if you get that great marriage, if you get that great house, if you get that great furniture, and then you buy new furniture, and you're going to hold on to the old furniture because you're just not letting go of any of it. So once you learn to let go emotionally, learn to let go of the past, learn to even forgive, then all of a sudden you don't need the stuff, you don't need the weight, you don't need the emotion, like, you feel lighter. So you can very much switch from one type to another, but if you find yourself being stuck in one, that's just your body type. That's totally fixable. Like, that's just your Ayurvedic type, right? So here's another thing you're prone to: depression. You're prone to, then when it goes from dis-ease to disease, then you start to notice diabetes. You start to notice even like a mucus problem or a phlegm problem. This is where you deal with a lot of head colds. Like, you can't get over the cold. You can't get over like the flu, like the head flu that you deal with, or the body flu. You have a ton of mucus. You have tons of phlegm. You have that like white coating that's on your tongue all the time. That's kapha, right? So that's when you're in a severe state of imbalance. Here's a thing that's great for kapha. I don't know if a lot of us on here know about it already, but onomonopono. So this is a Hawaiian thing. There was this doctor, and he learned to cure an entire facility full of people using this mantra of onomonopono. So I'll be sure to put that in the comments below just so that you can see it. You can look into it, because onomonopono is a ridiculous word to try and spell, right? There's many books on it, and it's absolutely phenomenal for all of these Ayurvedic types. But it is a mantra of, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, and thank you. So say like you have mommy issues. Not me. Okay, so yes. Anyways, you take your mom and you're like, you have to look internally, because forgiveness is not external, it's internal. It has nothing to do with that person and everything to do with you. So you just look at that person, you're thinking in your head, my mom, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Okay? These are 4 things. You say them over and over and over and over until it means something. And then you can go through each of those people in your life, that circumstance in your past, that thing that happened, that thing that you didn't feel like you added up to, like you weren't enough. So you just let go of those things and you just say, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, and thank you. Onomonopono. Lovely. So if you want to look further into that, I'm going to tag that down in the comments below later, and you can nerd out on it like I totally have. A lot of us on here have read books about it. Okay, so here's the other thing. To pacify your kapha type, you need to stimulate physically. Okay, so you physically have to stimulate yourself. This has to be exercise. Like, you need to do exercise when you feel heavy, when you feel stuck and you're like, I just can't, I feel depressed. You have to, if you are a kapha body type. You will never get out of kapha and switch to one of the other sides, or you will never improve or move forward. You will never get out of your imbalance if you do not get up and physically stimulate yourself. It's gonna be hard. Here's the thing, like the wind type, very much easy to get out of. The fire type, a lot of times you don't even know you're in balance unless you're pissy, right? But kapha is the hardest to get out of, and it very much has to do with mindset, okay? So when you have to stimulate yourself physically, you need exercise, you need to shake it off. Girl, if you need to dance it out, man, if you need to dance it out, right? You just need to shake that off. You need to get it going. You need to get that dirt off your shoulder, turd off your shoulder, whatever it is. You need to forgive. You need to let go. You need to set it aside. You need to drop it. Or you need to find an emotion code practitioner to remove the emotional baggage, okay? But you need to do you, and you need to shake it off, and you got to get exercising. Here's the other thing. You got to forgive. You got to forgive you. You got to forgive the other person. Here's the thing about forgiveness. It is so hard to do, right? But when you, and as the saying goes, when you are having trouble with forgiveness, it is like, holding on to a hot coal in hopes of throwing it at somebody and actually hitting them. But it's going to burn you first before it ever gets them, okay? It's going to burn you way more than it's ever going to get them, okay? So forgiveness, very much like for kaphas, you got to let that go. The other thing is what you need to have. So nothing heavy when you're eating. Kaphas do not need to eat heavy, rich foods, right? You need to avoid the breads. You need to avoid the carbs. Here's what you need. You need light things. You need dry things. So you are great for like having like crackers and chips and popcorn and things like that. Not bread, right? Nothing heavy. You need well-spiced foods. So things that are lots of flavor to make you feel satiated, but not adding anything weight-wise to it, but just giving you that flavor. Lots of spices and things. And you need energizing foods, things that give you energy, things that get you going. Like think about apples. If you've ever been starving and the only thing you have is an apple, it's like the worst feeling in the world. But then you eat it and you're like, man, this is so good. And then a few minutes later, you're like, I feel great, right? Or when you drink like a full thing of water, you're like, I didn't really want that water. But then you feel energized, right? So that is very much kapha energy. Oh my gosh. So here's the thing. You never have to be stuck in this. You never have to be, feeling that lack. You never have to be like, oh man, this is who I am as a person. It's totally cool. If you're kapha, you can be like me. You can suddenly turn into vata and be windy and deal with constipation. It's fine. And anxiety. I mean, you can totally change to pitta, and you can be dealing with, anger and stress and not be able to eat potatoes, tomatoes, and mushrooms, right? Here's the thing. They all have their drawbacks, and they all have they're positive notes too. They all have these amazing things that you can have and do with them, and you can very much change. These can be seasonal for you. These might be like a season in your life rather than like a season changing with the temperature too. So don't ever think that you're stuck in those. You can totally nerd out now. I'm going to share a quiz in the bottom in the comments so that you can look and find out what your body type is. What you need to do. I looked on Pinterest and I also typed a lot of things into YouTube. So you don't need any expert like to find out who you are and how you can help yourself. You can totally nerd out just like I did. You can look up these signs, but I'm going to have you take the quiz first. I would love it if when you take the quiz, if you can comment on this post again, let me know what you were, because I totally want to vote. I want to see who's more of what. I want to see, you know, this gives me an idea of how to help my friends too, so that I know like, hey, maybe we should try this kind of challenge. Maybe we could do this kind of challenge, right? So I'm so glad that I didn't go vegan raw, because that would have totally killed my whole Vata energy. It would have just really spun me out of imbalance even more, which is super cool because I'm going to be starting like this whole 60-hour cleanse. So if anybody wants to know anything about the 60-hour cleanse, it is a product that I'm taking, so it'd be something that you would have to buy. But if you wanted to do that with me, then by all means comment in the bottom or send me a message and I'll send you about that. I'm going to start that on the 1st. So I will be fasting to reset myself rather than eating cold raw foods that would just send me even more out of balance. And I hope to talk to you soon. I hope you guys love this one and nerded out as much as I did on this. So yay! Thank you. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you soon.